Hey guys, and welcome back to another one of my Halloween tutorials. This one is called Exposed because my brains are exposed. So let's get into it. Taking a little bit of all-purpose flour and some liquid latex, I'm going to start to mix that together in a bowl. If you are going to attempt to do this, please pour your liquid latex first and then start to put little bits of flour into that mix and start stirring it together, because I did it the opposite way and ended up with this lumpy mess, but I ended up working with it anyway, so it's fine. So I'm going to put this onto a face cast. The face cast that I have is of my own face. I did create it myself watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to do your own face cast. So if you guys want to do a face cast, just look up the videos on YouTube. They are very helpful. So I'm just going to put Vaseline all over the area that I'm going to work in, just to make sure that I could easily peel that latex off. So I'm just going to start to fork on the paste onto my forehead and start to spread out like so, dipping my fingers into the latex that I have on the side. I'm just going to start to smooth out those edges. If you don't have latex on your fingers, the paste starts to stick to your fingers and it's just a mess. So I'm just going to work with that paste and keep on smoothing out those edges to they are very, very smooth and able to blend into my own forehead when I lift the piece off of the cast. When you get it to how you want, just take a pencil brush or anything small that you have and dip it into the liquid latex on the side and start to create small grooves like the brain has. So I'm just going to create little swirls and dips here and there just to resemble a brain, and I'm going to keep on doing that until I like how it looks. And then I'm going to dip my finger back into that liquid latex and I'm just going to smooth out any edges that are sticking up. Now that all of those grooves are done, I'm just going to dip my finger back into that latex on the side and I'm just going to start to build up the outer edge, because when you peel this off the cast, you don't want the latex to be so thin that it actually tears. So you want to really make sure that it has enough latex on there and just smooth everything out. When it's all done, it should look like this, and you want to let this dry overnight because the paste does take a while to dry. Okay, now it's the next day and I just peeled it off of the cast, and as I'm peeling it up, I just put powder underneath so the latex doesn't stick to itself. I didn't get that part in the video clip, I'm sorry. Now I am just clipping off any excess that I do not need. So all of those little curled in edges, I don't need that, so I'm just peeling that right off into the shape that I want, and then I'm going to move on to painting. Now to color it, I'm just going to use a pink cream color, and I'm just going to put that all over, resembling the brain tissue. Make sure you use a brain as reference so you can see the colors, the dips, the squiggliness, the nastiness, you know, just keep it as reference. So I'm just going to keep on putting that all over, and you could also use water activated colors as well, or even alcohol activated colors as well. Now with red, I'm just going into those grooves because those are all nasty and red and gross. So I'm going to go all into all of the grooves, and then we're going to start to define. Now that all the red is in those grooves, I'm going to take a little bit of black and go along all of the edges of the red just to give it a little more definition and make it appear as if the grooves are even deeper, and you just don't want the red to just look flat, so you want to add another color into that. After that step is done, I'm just going to take a little bit of that pink and a little bit of red mixed together and dab it on the areas that we put that pink before, just to give it a little more of a realistic flow. You don't want it just to be one flat color going all the way through the piece. You want it to have definition and to really pop out. Okay, now it's time to apply, and I should warn you, this entire video I was on FaceTime with my sister and I'm cracking up the entire time. Hence me smiling and laughing and all that other stuff. So I already have my makeup done. You can do your makeup however you want. So I'm just laying a layer of liquid latex down on my forehead, and then I'm going to stick some random pieces of tissue onto the latex like so. And I'm making sure I rip it up. And then once that is all down, I'm just going to go ahead and stipple it again with some liquid latex and then dry it with a blow dryer. Once that layer is dry, I'm going to go ahead and apply another layer of liquid latex, and then I'm going to blow dry it once again. Now that layer is dry, and you're going to apply one more layer of liquid latex, and this is the last layer. You could apply another one if you like, but I chose 3 was enough. So I'm just going to blow dry that, and then I'm going to powder it. And then I'm going to choose my foundation color, and I'm going to paint all over the top of it. And you can see the white from the tissue is sticking through a little bit because I forgot to put the brown body paint on top of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. Just speckle it about. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you, because we're going to tear the skin right off of our forehead anyway. So it's kind of be hanging down in flaps, so no one's really going to tell. But yeah, I'm just going to go all along the area with the brown body paint. And then I'm going to go back out over it with my foundation just so the white doesn't show through much. Now that all of that is done, I'm just going to go ahead and powder it once again just to make sure that foundation is not going to go anywhere and my forehead looks super lumpy. Okay, now here's the fun part. You're going to start from the top and you're going to slowly start to rip it down. But while you're ripping it down, you're going to want to powder. And this is to make sure that the latex does not stick onto itself. So with your powder brush and some powder on it, just start to slowly rip it down and powder on both sides just to make sure that the latex does not start to stick, because if it starts to stick, you have to start all over again and it's very annoying. So you just want to have 2 flaps like this just hanging down, and it looks super gross even without anything being in there. It just looks nasty. So I'm just going to start to tear it off, but don't tear it off all the way because then you're going to have to liquid latex it back onto your forehead. So I'm just going to go in with some of my foundation color in the inside. Just, you know, it has some type of color. And now with a little bit of liquid latex, I'm going to put that inside of that gap, and I'm going to start to map out where I want that piece of brain. So I'm just going to lay the liquid latex on the edge of that brain like so. And I'm just using a Q-tip with some liquid latex. And I'm going to start to slide that brain behind that flap of skin and just stick it to my forehead. Make sure that you don't get your hair into this. You can see a little bit of my baby hairs in it. And it hurt when I took it off. So just make sure that your hairs are all fully back. Now applying a little more of that latex to the brain, I'm just going to hold that piece of skin up because I don't want it to fall down fully. And then I'm going to go around our little brain piece with some more latex just to smooth out those edges into our skin. And then I'm going to dry it with a blow dryer and then redo it one more time. You want those edges to be seamless. You don't want anyone to see any harsh lines. Okay, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and take some foundation on a Q-tip and just go around the outer portions of her forehead and just blend it out with a sponge so you won't see any harsh lines again. So I'm going to keep on doing that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a reddish, brownish sort of cream color, and I'm going to put that on the inside flaps of skin because, you know, it's the inside flaps of skin, so it has to be a nasty, disgusting color. So I'm just going to go around those edges. And I'm also going to take a little bit of regular red cream paint, and I'm just going to dab that along in there too, just to give it more definition. It's not just one flat color. Now with some red and blue mixed together, I'm just going to go along the top to make it look like the top of my forehead is very bruised because my brain is coming through, you know. So taking some scab blood, I'm just going to go along the top area of the brain. And I'm just going to dab motions, make it look like clots, you know, make it look all chunky and nasty. And we're going to go through the grooves of the brain as well and also apply this to the flaps of the skin. Okay, now to make the brain look all shiny and glossy, I'm just going to take my Vaseline on a Q-tip and rub that all over the pink portions of the brain. And then I am going to start to bruise up the outer portion of the wound by taking a red and blue mix together once again with a stippling motion with a sponge wedge that I just ripped up. I'm just going to go all along the outside of the wound and lift up those flaps of skin because you have to get the bruising on that as well. And I must say that that looks really disgusting. And after this portion is all done, I'm going to go ahead and put on the liquidy blood. And if you want, I didn't choose to do it because I wanted the beauty part mixed in with the nasty part. But you could make the rest of your face look dead as well. You could darken up the eyes, you know, put blood coming out of your mouth, whatever. It's all what you want to do. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and please, if you have not, please subscribe to my channel and please give this video a big fat thumbs up. As always, thank you for watching. Bye.